So I think Patita Pavana Prabhu has come, so I will leave floor to Sumangal Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, welcome. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, Sumangal Prabhu, take over.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Patita Pavana Prabhuji, welcome to our class today. So that was our Shiksha Guru, His Grace Jagjeev Jagannath Das Prabhuji, I was telling you before. So he's the one to give us class on weekly basis. So this week, yes, this week we have invited you. So welcome, Prabhuji. Now, you're ready, Prabhuji? We can start. We'll just,
yes,
I'll
I'm
just
ready.
give a brief introduction of you to everybody so that they can understand. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Thank you for joining today's program. Today we're very fortunate to have with us His Grace Patita Pavana Nitai Gaura Prabhuji from Mayapur. And Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And Prabhuji joined ISKCON in the year 2008 while working in IBM in US and got initiated after 2 years. That is 2010, he got initiated by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. It's very, in 2 years, normally it's very difficult to get initiated. No? So that's very good. Now, after getting instruction from Guru Maharaj, Prabhu started Bhakti Viksha program in US, and he was even preaching in the University of Texas in various programs. And he worked around 15 years in IBM up to 2015. And then he left IBM and came to Mayapur to settle there and join the movement of Srila Prabhupada as a full-time preacher, you know. So that was a very, I think, great, what do you call, sacrifice or whatever way you tell, Prabhu did, you know, which I don't think many people can do it, you know. So leaving a company like IBM in US and joining the movement. So that was very, we should be very grateful to him. And then Prabhuji has done Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav and many various other courses from Mayapur Institute. And he's giving classes in Mayapur Temple, and he's traveling across India and even all over the world to give Srimad Bhagavatam class and various other programs. Now, without waiting any more time, let's welcome Prabhuji to our group to enlighten us with the transcendental message of the Lord. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, Prabhuji, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Sumangal Nandasutta Prabhu. Thank you for the introduction. Actually, I was forced to move to Mayapur. It was not a choice because of being tired of life in the IT in corporate America, and also traveling to Mayapur for Gaurpurnima every year. So I chose to give up this kind of lifestyle, and it was something Krishna inspired me to do it. It was I wasn't planning for it to do that, so it came as mercy and mercy of Panchatattva in Mayapur that I could take this decision. I wouldn't have probably just planned for it and decided to just move like that. So it was definitely special mercy and Guru Maharaj's mercy. I think you were having a program before this as well, right? So I'm not sure if you shared some details on the topic or the verse we were gonna discuss today.
You can tell the topic and details also.
Okay, so Sumangalananda Sutta Prabhu asked me to choose a topic. I thought in regards to the situation we are now, especially the lockdown around the world and this virus situation, I thought we could speak a little bit on how to become fearless by taking to Krishna consciousness, and speak from Bhagavatam, mostly relating to this topic. So the name of the topic we have chosen is how to transcend the bodily concept of life. And the Bhagavatam verse that I have chosen is from the 10th canto. I think I could share. 1 second. I've not used this tool before, so just
Your screen is visible, Prabhuji.
yes, I'm trying to shift to the another tab. This is a reference words that I opened. 1 second. Maybe I just close this. Okay, it's here. Do you usually do it like Bhagavatam class or like chanting the verse, or maybe you have a different structure for the program?
Any structure, Prabhu, any structure. It's a Bhakti Vriksha program. No fixed format. You can do whatever format that you are comfortable.
Okay, so we'll just chant the verse 1 and go through the translation and purport, and then we'll speak a little bit and then have some questions at the end. That would be okay. Please chant with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Sattvam Vishuddham Shrayate Bhavan Stitau.
Sattam Vishuddham Shayate Bhavan Sthitau.
Sharirinam Shreya Upayanam Vapu.
Sharirinam Shreya Upayanam Vapu.
Veda Kriya Yoga Tapa Samadhipis.
Veda Kriyat Yoga Tapa Samadhivis.
Tavarhanam Yena Jana Samihate.
Tavarhanam Ena Jana Samihate.
Okay, so the translation is, O Lord, during the time of maintenance, you manifest several incarnations, all with transcendental bodies, beyond the material modes of nature. When you appear in this way, you bestow all good fortune upon the living entities by teaching them to perform Vedic activities such as ritualistic ceremonies, mystic yoga, austerities, penances, and ultimately samadhi, ecstatic absorption in thoughts of you. Thus, you are worshipped by the Vedic principles. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.3, Yajna Dana Tapa Karma Natvachyam. The Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, charity, austerity, and all such prescribed duties are never to be given up. Yajno Danam Tapaschaiva Pavanani Manishinam. Bhagavad Gita 18.5. Even one who is very much advanced in spiritual realization must still execute the Vedic principles. Even in the lowest stage, the karmis are advised to work for the sake of the Lord. Yajnar tatat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work binds one to this material world. The words yajnartat karmana indicate that while performing all kinds of duties, one should remember that these duties should be performed to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. According to Vedic principles, there must be divisions of human society. Chaturvarnam maya shrishtam. There should be Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. And everyone should learn to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tam abhyarchya. This is real human society. And without this system, we are left with animal society. The modern activities of human society are described in Srimad Bhagavatam as the activities of Gokara, cows and asses, Sa eva Gokaraha. Everyone is acting in the bodily concept of life, involving society, friendship, and love for the improvement of economic and political conditions. And thus, all activities are enacted in ignorance. The Supreme Personality, therefore, comes to teach us how to act according to the Vedic principles. In this age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and preached that in this age, the Vedic activities cannot be systematically performed because people are so fallen. He gave this recommendation from the Shastras. Hare Nama Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva Gatiranyata. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way, no other way, no. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore teaching people all over the world how to chant Hare Krishna mantra. And this has proved very much effective in all places at all times. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in order to teach us Vedic principles intended for understanding Him. Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedya. You should always know that when Krishna and Lord Chaitanya appeared, they appeared in Shuddha Sattva bodies. One should not mistake the body of Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be a material body like ours. For Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as needed for the benefit of the entire human society. Out of causeless mercy, the Lord appears in different ages in His original Shuddha Sattva, transcendental body, to elevate human society to the spiritual platform upon which they can truly benefit. Unfortunately, modern politicians and other leaders stress the bodily comforts of life, Yashyatma Buddhi Gunapetri Dhatuke, and concentrate on the activities of this ism and that ism, which they describe in different kinds of flowery language. Essentially, such activities are the activities of animals, Sa eva Gokaraha. We should learn how to act from Bhagavad Gita, which explains everything for human understanding. Thus, we can become happy even in this age of Kali. Okay, I said just leave the screen like that. I don't know how to. Okay. Is there any way I can unshare or just remains like that?
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm just trying to unshare the screen.
Yeah, you can just click that, Prabhuji, and then you can unshare it.
Click which way? Chat this. This one here. Where is the tool for unshare?
In the bottom of this.
I mean, looking fine.
After the mute button, Prabhu. After the mute button.
After the mute button, this one.
My camera.
Right here.
Green.
Okay. You can still hear me and see me, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, all right. So we understand from the verse that Krishna, when he appears in his original transcendental body. And the difference is that we are forced to accept a material body when we take birth. And this verse talks about Vishuddha Sattva. Vishuddha Sattva is pure goodness or pure Krishna consciousness. This is even beyond the mode of goodness. And we have the three modes, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, which is goodness, passion, ignorance. And when we are forced to accept a material body, we are actually most of the time going between passion and ignorance because of the mind being situated like that, because of the age we are in, because of the duties we need to perform, because of the material energy forcing us to accept certain conditions, reject certain conditions as per our conditioning, basically. So how to transcend these modes so we can actually become situated in pure Krishna consciousness. The platform of Vishuddha Sattva is also called Vasudeva, where we can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we have certain conditioning already based on our previous karma, such as which is called prarabdha karma, coming from activities from previous lifetimes, and we have had certain desires that we bring into the present body, and that is how our subtle body is working. We have mind, intelligence, and false ego. It's conditioned to think in certain way, and we are conditioned. Our intelligence is limited because of actually having material desires over countless lifetimes. And what we see in our present life is we are working with these limitations. We are working with the limitations of body and mind that that we have got as a result of previous activities and desires. So to understand Krishna, and we have to come to the mode of goodness to actually be able to digest spiritual knowledge. Srila Prabhupada says, without coming to the mode of goodness, it's very difficult to understand concepts of spiritual life. We still take up spiritual practice. We start to chant. We do various things as part of our sadhana. But until we come to the mode of goodness, we don't really begin to understand the concepts in their actual, in reality. Like we don't understand the actual, we don't understand the actual meaning of spiritual knowledge. It appears differently to different people because of the backgrounds that we come from. The same knowledge, when it is presented, different people perceive it in different way. It's because we have different experiences. We have gone through certain experiences in our life that we can only relate to that degree, that the knowledge that is being presented. So, and then we try to absorb that and apply in our life. But how can it become more effective? The spiritual knowledge that we receive from a pure devotee, how can it become more effective that it actually it is directly related to our chanting and other things we do as part of our sadhana. Even hearing when we perceive spiritual knowledge, there is a verse in Bhagavatam that goes, one cannot perceive purely until his actions are pure, and one cannot be pure in actions unless one can be pure in thoughts. So the conditioning is playing a very good role in how we perceive and understand spiritual knowledge, and also the results of our activities as part of the abhideya that we follow. And this directly affects our chanting as well, because unless we understand Sambandha Jnana very well, we are not having good results of our chanting, because we still perceive things, we try to relate them on the bodily level, on the bodily platform, and we do not, though we hear day in and day out when reading books, Srila Prabhupada's books, or hearing lectures, that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul. That is the basic fundamental thing that we are presented when we take up Krishna consciousness. And we are also presented with the knowledge that we are an eternal servant of Krishna. Jivere Swarupahe Nityera Krishna Dasa. So we hear this, but how much we realize it, that has an effect on how much results we get out of our sadhana. So if we are actually have a good realization of our Sambandha Jnana, then our abhideya becomes more effective. So the chanting starts with purification of the heart, Chetodarpanamarchanam. This is the first verse of Sikshashtakam. And how does the chanting clean the heart? There are certain elements that are involved that play a role in how soon we can clean our hearts, how soon we can perceive spiritual knowledge in our heart. And Srila Prabhupada points out in the preface to Nectar of Instruction that the attitude of the practitioner plays an important role. He says it's actually the key element, or he indicates that it plays a role for success in spiritual life. What kind of attitude we have, even towards becoming Krishna conscious. So we all try our best on different levels. We all do certain things as part of our sadhana, but if we don't have the right attitude, the results are not that great. And this is true for anything we do, even as part of our duties to run our family, or if we have a desire to become proficient in something, attitude plays a key role. So people can do so much to help us. They can give us a lot of knowledge, or give us training and guide in different ways. But if we don't keep proper attitude, then this is going as most of it goes as useless, because we don't derive benefit from it. And the purification starts with giving up bodily designations, and these are described as upadhis. And purification does not start until we actually start giving up our material designations, our upadhis, our bodily identifications. And how do we give up bodily identifications? Again, we go back to the understanding that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, eternal servant of the Lord, and we are supposed to be serving the Lord and his devotees. And without having a desire, without actually having a real desire to serve the Lord and his devotees, there is very little benefit that is coming back from our sadhana. So these are all very closely tied together. So if we are endeavoring to acquire material things, then it defeats the purpose. If we are keeping any hope that we will find happiness in the material world, then that defeats the purpose. So, or if we are expecting some happiness from another person or happiness from relationships in the material world, then again this defeats the purpose, because it directly plays into our attitude. Our attitude should be that we become humble and we become tolerant. And how do we actually become humble and develop tolerance is when we give up, just make simple adjustments to our life, is atyahara prayasasya. Don't endeavor for more than you need, and don't expect happiness out of the material world. The material world is designed to give suffering, and it's coming whether you want it or not. So the recommendation is that you become a dhira. Dhira means very steady, very grave, that you just see happiness and suffering just pass through without being attached of expecting happiness, or without being too much disturbed when some difficulties come. And when you give up expecting happiness from others, either directly in the family or from friendships or other relationships, then also the mind becomes more peaceful, because now your attitude is much better than being contaminated with all these things. So it's described as one should actually give up complete 100% expectation of any benefit of one should actually be fully convinced of futility in the material world. That means you should not keep any hope at all to get something in the material world. And how to achieve this understanding, how to have this realization, is to see the things that we have are mercy from Krishna, to actually develop gratitude that whatever comes as Krishna's mercy, and whatever arrangements we have in our lives, whether happy situations or not so happy situations, meaning not as expected situations, because happiness is always relative, right? Happiness means expectation. Oh, I wanted to have this, but I don't have this, so I'm not happy. So when that expectation is not there, and we can nicely see that this is what Krishna arranged for me, or this is what I deserve because of my previous activities or my previous desires, somehow I am landed in this situation. And a devotee actually sees this as his own, the result of his own activities. If there are certain difficulties in life, he sees we have these nice words that they encompass simikshamano. So devotee is always seeing that this is all result of my previous activities, and I accept them. I accept them and I live with them. I don't complain about them. And because for the devotee, devotee doesn't get his karma as much as a normal person not depending on Krishna would get. It's always minimized, and devotee is thinking, oh, I should have actually gotten more suffering for this difficulty, but actually Krishna has minimized it, that I could tolerate, and actually I could depend on him more. So when we develop this attitude, then it's easy to it's easy to perform devotional service. It's easy to be on the mode of goodness. And all these understandings directly, they are related to keeping proper attitude for sadhana. And how do we transcend bodily concept? The verse clearly says there is no other way in Kali Yuga other than chanting the holy names of the Lord. Harinam eva kevalam. So this simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This simple concept helps us to transcend bodily concept. And it's effective when we have digested the basic spiritual knowledge properly, and we develop the right attitude for that. And naturally, when we are keeping the right attitude, naturally, when the mind becomes peaceful, naturally, when we are able to perform devotional service regardless of the situation we are in, we are also developing fearlessness. We are developing fearlessness of all bodily some threats to bodily concept of life, because we are seeing this body is given by Krishna, and we utilize it to actually do our sadhana so that we can somehow transcend the modes and be established in pure goodness where we can realize Krishna. So we see it as a means that's given by Krishna. We engage it in Krishna's service. So we are not so much attached that we take care of our body very well, but we are not so much in a fearful situation, because we understand that if our situation changes, it is because of Krishna's arrangement. When we go through some changes in our situation in our life with regards to anything, ups and downs in our life, material life, ups and downs in families, ups and downs in relationships, we accept them as Krishna's arrangement. And when we see it as Krishna's mercy, something that we actually deserve at this point in life, that will help me become even more Krishna conscious, then that automatically elevates one to the platform of fearlessness. Because now you're seeing whatever happens, whether it's perceived by the mind as something positive or it's perceived by the mind as something negative, we take it as Krishna's mercy. And when we actually see the worst difficulties as Krishna's mercy, we make the most progress in spiritual life. Because when Krishna likes someone, he actually puts his devotee through some difficulties. And why do we get these difficulties is because we all have we all have attachments in various degrees on the bodily concept of life. We are attached to our body. We are attached to the subtle body, thinking in a certain way, right? We don't like to think outside the realm of our intelligence. There is a fear factor right there to perceive something, to go outside our comfort zone and accept something that that our mind is not used to. And the spiritual knowledge is actually changing that ability to go beyond the limited perceptions of our mind and to perceive the truth presented to us in spiritual knowledge. Then the liberation is happening. The liberation even from the mode of goodness, because we need to transcend even the mode of goodness to actually become completely fearless. And then we see things as Krishna's arrangement, then we accept it wholeheartedly. So just to speak a few minutes on the present situation in the world, we understand that from Bhagavad Gita, not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's knowledge and Krishna's sanction. And there is a purpose behind everything. And we also understand that our particular situation is also, the world situation affects our particular situation to various degrees. And how we take it, how we deal with it, just depends on our conditioning, or our transcending the bodily concept of life, because our perception of the things are different. Different people have different perceptions, though the same activity is happening all around the world. The way devotees see it is different from the way the normal people see it. So, and even within the devotee communities, we see different reactions from different devotees. Some of them just want to personally care for themselves completely. They want to avoid any risk completely. Some of them are taking it with a salt of grain, like, I'll do my best to be free of any risk, but then I cannot be 100%, cannot be 100% foolproof that I will not get the virus. So I will deal with it when it comes. And other people, they depend on Krishna, and if it comes, it comes. Like Srila Prabhupada said, one time there was heavy bombing in Kolkata. I think it was maybe Second World War, and the bombs were being dropped everywhere, and Prabhupada was sitting quietly in his room, and he could hear the sound of the bombs going everywhere. And Prabhupada was talking about this, I think, with his disciples. And Prabhupada mentioned that if the bomb came to him, he said, I would see the bomb as Krishna. So Prabhupada accepted, and he was not running here and there. He just sat down and he was just chanting. So he meant that he would see even this so-called most unfortunate encounter as Krishna's arrangement, and he would see it like that. So this requires a lot of faith that whatever Krishna will do good for me. And when we have that faith, then we are actually not so fearful of any situation like the present situation we are in, because we are able to see that if death comes, like there is a very famous saying, Rake Krishna Mare Ke, Mare Krishna Rake Ke. So if Krishna wants to protect, nobody can kill. If Krishna wants to kill, nobody can protect. So how do we take this? Okay, Krishna wants to protect, nobody can kill, right? So we want to be under Krishna's shelter and we want Krishna to protect us. Now, how do we understand the other part? If Krishna wants to kill, nobody can protect us. This is also very true. And why would Krishna want to kill us, right? Why would Krishna want to kill his devotees? So there is definitely a purpose behind everything Krishna does. So we see it negatively? Oh, Krishna wants to kill me, and is that something like an not so friendly behavior from Krishna, that he actually is acting negatively towards us? No, it's our faith in Krishna that helps us see it in a better way, that Krishna has a plan for me. Krishna wants to change my situation from something now to another thing. And unless we learn to see that this new situation is better for us, we are always in a how do we say, in a state of self-denial. We are always thinking that either Krishna won't do this to me or this won't happen to me. You know, I'm doing my devotional service very nicely. Why would Krishna do this to me? I'm a very good devotee and I'm following process which Srila Prabhupada gave me. So Krishna should only do good things for me, should always give me all facilities. He should give me everything that I need. So this kind of thinking is actually challenging our faith in Krishna. But when we turn around and see the other way, that whatever Krishna does is actually good for me, even if it means a drastic change in the situation, then we actually become fearless. Then we actually see that Krishna is our real benefactor. Then just we can imagine how blissful our life becomes when we actually see Krishna in such a relationship as our eternal benefactor. And one thing that comes to mind that plays a role in transcending the bodily concept is also have a little austerity, because austerity has a direct role, a direct impact on our consciousness. Accepting some austerity voluntarily. So our sadhana is actually more, we become more grave. So when we chant, if we are just chanting like a routine, like a ritual, then of course you have some protection. We definitely will get prasadam to eat because we are chanting the holy names. Krishna will never starve his devotee. But if we chant with full samanda jnana that there is no happiness in the material world, that there is only suffering, the material body is like a prison house, and we need to transcend this bodily concept, and we feel the pain of being in the material world, though nothing is pinching you at the moment, but this consciousness from coming from spiritual knowledge, that should make us cry for Krishna. When we actually feel this way when we are chanting, then this has real benefit from chanting. Otherwise, it just becomes a ritual. It just becomes more of just have to finish my rounds today, and I'm fine because this is what I'm told to do. But when we do our main activity in our spiritual life, which is chanting the holy names with good attention, with asking for mercy from Krishna, in an asking manner, in an asking mode, in a praying mode. And what are we praying for? We are not interested in making some useless prayers. Actually, we are recommended not to make some unnecessary prayers. We are supposed to pray to Krishna to deliver us from this material concept of life. We are supposed to pray to Krishna to give us bhakti. We are supposed to pray to Krishna to help us realize our relationship with him. These are the only meaningful prayers we should have in our conscience when we actually chant, and that brings about good results in our chanting. So this is what I plan to speak today. I hope I'm not too boring, or I don't feel qualified to speak. I was suddenly given this opportunity by Prabhuji, and I thought I'd do some justice to it. I hope I have given all of you some pleasure. We can open up for questions. See, some devotees have some questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. This is Divakar Prabhu from Saudi Arabia.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, can we consider the present situation of coronavirus is creation from the Lord Krishna as well as what you are just explaining to us, because in some one of the slokas says that Ishvara Param Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadira Govindam Sarva Karana Karam. Whatever is emits from him, his creation.
Yes, definitely. Everything that happens, like you mentioned the verse, Sarva Karana Karanam, the source, the reason behind everything happening in the material world, Krishna has a role to play in it. And it is happening by Krishna's will. Now, we have to learn how to see that, because especially when we see negative things, we tend to have a certain inclination towards not seeing it that Krishna is doing it, because Krishna is all good personality of Godhead. So how could Krishna be doing something negative? But when we get over this limitation of thinking that Krishna cannot do something like this, then we can try to see the purpose. Though Krishna doesn't reveal everything, that all the knowledge that we want to have, Krishna may not give it to us. Depends on the level of our surrender, depends on the level of our realizations. But we can accept that Krishna knows what is happening. There is his will, there is his sanction, there is a purpose behind this. And we can perceive from the change that's happening all around the world. There are some good things also that are happening because of this virus situation. People are becoming more conscious. So,
Yes,
and when Srila Prabhupada left his body, the last thing he was saying when he was instructing his disciples is, just try to understand that Krishna is doing everything. These were his last words before he said Hare Krishna. He was saying that please understand that Krishna is doing everything, not one thing or another thing, but literally everything. So, but we may not fully realize why Krishna is doing this, but the attitude we should keep is that Krishna is doing it in the best interests of everyone, and he may be allowing certain things, even certain activities by demoniac people based on their strong desires. We should remember we are all Krishna's children, and there are those who are turning towards him and those who have turned away from him. And Krishna may still allow certain things to be done by the demoniac elements. Not everything, but certain things, but they tend to play out in a different way than those demoniac elements may have originally planned for. So they may do something, but they may not achieve the objectives of their plans. So we should not put a lot of focus also in trying to understand these things. We should be more interested in how this applies to our spiritual progress directly. Then that will be a good usage of time.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My name is Jagya Jagannath Das Prabhu. Thanks a lot for your very good class. I have 3 questions. I'll go one by one. So the topic is about being fearless. So to become fearless means to get ready to accept whatever Krishna gives. Am I right in my understanding? Is this the core message of this session?
To become fearless means to accept whatever Krishna gives us.
Yep.
To become fearless means to see everything as Krishna's arrangement. To become fearless means having more faith in Krishna, having faith that Krishna is our real benefactor, and if something happens to me, it's not like Krishna doesn't know about it. Krishna is definitely our being conscient that Krishna knows about it, giving us something we call Krishna karma that devotees get, that it's tailored for each devotee in a different way that helps the devotee make progress in spiritual life. So if we are able to see it in this manner, then that helps us to become fearless.
Thank you, Prabhu. The next question is, can you explain the context of the shloka, this 10th canto, 2nd chapter? I think this is just before the advent of Krishna's appearance. So fearlessness and to the advent of Krishna, what is the context of that? Who is getting fearless there? Kamsa was in fearful mode. Devaki and they were also there. Some kind of anxiety was there. So where is that fearlessness context to this shloka? Can you just explain, Prabhuji?
So actually, I chose this verse because to speak about the activities of to speak about the activities and how to transcend the activities and how to glorify the Supreme Lord, so that it helps us transcend the bodily concept of life. This verse is actually talking about the difference between being a cow or an ass in relation to the activities we perform, and what are the real activities of human beings, and what are the duties of the four varnas, like that. So the fearlessness is directly implied from this verse, that there is deliverance from material activities by chanting the holy names. So that is the deliverance itself is helping us become fearless. So and it talks about how to become happy in this age of Kali, like how we can learn and act from Bhagavad Gita. So this is all helping us become fearless. All these activities are directly related to becoming fearless. Does that answer your question?
Oh, thanks a lot. And the third question is a personal question. Sorry if we take that liberty. You appear to be so calm and cool, Prabhu. What is the secret? And I am remembered of this Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto Avadhuta Brahmana. That conversation between Yadu King and Avadhuta Brahmana, you appear to be so calm and cool. There should be something, you are enjoying an inner peace within yourself. That is very obvious. So kindly tell us about that secret of yours, Hare Krishna.
Actually, I'm a little nervous, and because of the lockdown, I haven't had an opportunity to preach in a little while. So it's just that I'm relishing this opportunity to discuss Krishna Katha with you, and naturally it makes my mind peaceful. Otherwise there is no other secret, actually.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
I'll request any other devotees, if we have any questions, kindly come forward to ask question. Hamskokul Prabhu, I think you are also there. Sumangal Nansada Prabhu, you are also there. Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Yeah, Patita Pavana Prabhuji, that was our Shiksha Guru Jagjeev Jagannath Das Prabhuji, who asked 3 questions, So if anybody have any more questions, then I will have one questions. I'll ask later. So let's see if anybody have any more questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Patita Pavana Prabhu, Danut Pranam. Thank you for a wonderful class, Prabhu. I also work for IBM. I've been there for almost 15 years now. I hope someday that we will also be able to serve Lord the way you are doing now. Just a small question, Prabhuji. In this group, we have a few absolutely first-time devotees also, and those who are very, very new to the to the philosophy as such. In one of the during your lecture, you mentioned that, Ati Ahara Prayasascha, and you said that don't endeavor for things which are, very difficult to obtain, or don't endeavor for things which than more than the basic things, right? Now, we are in a corporate world. You know how things are. You never know when we are going to lose our jobs. Things are very uncertain. So, for a grahastha in this kind of an environment, how do you draw a tangent between the two things that you said, that don't work, uh, overwork, or work only for the basic necessities, and we are grastas who don't know in a very turbulent circumstance? So how do you draw a tangent between the two? If you can please explain.
So if the money is coming in as a result of our work in the corporate world, we let it come because we know we are going to use it for family and for engaging in devotional service or for making donations or whatever. So that is not something that we try to stop. We try to not to just make the goal of life to earn money. So if our attitude is not like that, then it's okay. It's okay if we are making more money, but we should have faith that Krishna will maintain us. So this faith actually helps helps not to become too much worried that I have to save a lot for future, because whatever we have, Prabhupada says that we will get only so much that we are destined, that we are entitled anyways. So where is the question of over endeavoring and overworking? But if there is some opportunity, then if there is some opportunity, and if your intelligence says that I rather take this opportunity and save a little bit more, it's okay. It's just that you should not be sold into it, that I should do this, and this is the most important thing for me in the world. So it's all about our attitude, and if we can balance that I will not compromise on my devotional service, on the activities that I do on a daily basis, and I adjust a little bit to take this opportunity to save up a little bit, because if I don't have a job for 2 months or 3 months, I need to pay my mortgage or whatever. So if you have the opportunity, you go with it and just utilize that opportunity. But then it's better not to be so much attached on the platform of fear, because then that will actually compromise your faith in Krishna, because you're depending on your abilities, and you're not depending on Krishna, because Krishna is the source of our strength. Krishna is actually like even our hand cannot move without is also Krishna's. The energy is also coming for Krishna. So as soon as we see that that we are doing this, then we are not becoming more Krishna conscious. But if we see that that it's Krishna's energy that I'm able to actually engage in maintaining the family, it's Krishna who is maintaining, but I'm playing the role of an instrument here. And if you're doing something for the family, then it's okay. Just don't be attached to this concept that either it is me who is doing this, or that you're doing this out of fear. that I don't know what will happen. If I don't do this, because you should see that Krishna is in control. Like when you see that Krishna is in control, then you will also see that he will take care of you. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think it's a very way you've explained that the purpose is different. We have to still remain focused and understand our purpose. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you for summarizing it wonderfully. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Patita Pavana Prabhu, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, and Sunil Prabhu, Santa Gopeshwar Prabhu, Basant Prabhu, I know there is questions in our mind. Please speak out. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Patita Pavana Prabhu, thank you. Thank you for your session, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for being here.
Prabhu, I had a small question. We understand that we have to the problems that we face in our life, we have to understand as an arrangement of Krishna or mercy of Krishna. But when we are actually in that situation, the panic button is turned on. So we go into complete panic mode and we tend to forget, at least in my situation, I tend to forget about Krishna. And after the situation has kind of got into control, or I come to a stage where I understand that there is nothing beyond this I can do, then I start thinking about Krishna. So is there something, Prabhu, besides the understanding that everything has to be seen as arrangement of Krishna? Is there anything else that we should practice or we should understand, so that when we see a situation, that should trigger the thought that this is an arrangement of Krishna, and we should probably avoid going into or going too much into the panic mode or anxiety? Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. So yes, we have our own limitations in how we take the situation, and what we have to understand is that Krishna is, again, here, if we are thinking we are doing this, then that becomes a problem. But when we just use the knowledge that Krishna is aware of my situation, and Krishna will do it in such a way that it will benefit me, that he is doing it for my benefit. And this is just telling your mind, telling yourself, like you have this knowledge, and you just tell your mind. You just tell your mind that that Krishna is aware of my situation. He is going to take care of it, and when I come out of it, I'll be a better devotee. So the goal has to be that when you actually come out of it, it's not just that you get some relief from this thing, this sudden difficulty, but the goal should be that you actually become a better devotee. Then you will face this difficulty in a more Krishna conscious way. So you will actually engage your mind in thoughts of Krishna. You'll try to see the situation as Krishna's arrangement, though when it hits you, you may not be able to see it, but you will learn to see it. You will learn to see it just applying this knowledge that Krishna is aware of my situation, he will take care of it, but how I respond to it is more important, because nothing will happen to you. The time will pass, you will get through it, you will be fine. You have to understand that you will be fine, and you have been through, some difficulties in the past, so you already have knowledge of this. But how you take it and what you do during this time, this has an impact on your spiritual progress. So we are here to engage all our time to make some spiritual progress. We are not here to actually solve material problems. We are not here to find solutions, so we go back to a comfortable lifestyle again, after this difficulty has passed through. No, Krishna is actually sending us these difficulties so he can draw us closer to him. So if the goal is not to realize spiritual knowledge, develop more deeper relationship with Krishna and get a taste in devotional service, get a taste in service, then whatever you do, is not really meaningful, because the situation will pass anyways, and you are aware of it too, that the situation will pass. So have you really benefited from the situation? Is you simply tell your mind, you engage your intelligence to tell your mind that you know how you think is more important. So it just takes that much, nothing more.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We have one more hand I saw. Do we have more questions?
Sumangal Prabhu? Sorry.
Yeah, Prabhu.
Sumangal Prabhu, we'll take this as last question, because time is up for Sarma Prabhu's class. We'll take this one question more, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Prabhuji, see, Krishna has given us some resources. Example, our material resources, or some good devotees around us, good mentor around us, yeah, some physical resources. And then with that resources, if I can do something about the problems which has come to me, yeah, in any problem there will be two things. One is which I cannot do anything about that, and there is certain things I can do about it, which we understand that I can do something about it. Now, if I think that, well, Krishna has given us this problem, so let me accept it as it is, then I probably, without doing the things which I can do about it, and then even solve many some portion of that, and then by doing that, I can learn some knowledge. Yeah, I can learn something. I can even make myself a better devotee also by doing that. You know. Now, where to draw the line? You know, that take everything as Krishna's mercy only. You know, so that sometimes may happen, is not it? Am I clear?
So the question is, how much should I do with the resources that I have? How much should I try to solve the problem myself when I know how can I solve it?
That's right.
Yes. So again, the situation is that it's the same answer actually, that we see when we see Krishna's will, when we see how Krishna is playing the situation, that helps us become more Krishna conscious. Those are the secondary things that you talk about, the resources. These are secondary things. We have to understand, we have to be able to distinguish what is direct devotional service, what are the primary things that we engage in direct devotional service, and what are the secondary things. So this is kind of a topic in itself, but just to give a example, if you are cooking for Krishna, then the direct factor here is, the primary factor here is the devotion to Krishna, right? Our cooking with love for Krishna. This goes into the bhoga that we prepare, that we offer to Krishna. The secondary things are the ingredients we use, the pots, the pans, the vegetables, like that. But what is the primary thing that Krishna is looking at is the amount of attention we give, and we try to use the best ingredients that are available, that we have, and we have the conception that we are cooking for Krishna. Like, I'm going to take it after Krishna takes, but I want to please Krishna first. You may want to cook something that you like, but you want to offer it, you want to cook it with devotion to Krishna, you want to offer it to Krishna with love, and then you take it back, to take the remnants back, even though it may be something that you like. So the thing is, the situation may be not so difficult, the situation may be very difficult, and you may have resources, you may not have resources, but actually learn to see Krishna's will and how Krishna is trying to help you become a better devotee. So you have to learn to make a distinction between the primary elements and secondary elements. Then you will not give more importance to the secondary elements. Secondary elements you will just see as resources, but the primary element is that when I come out of this situation, I would have pleased Krishna. Pleasing Krishna is the primary, our primary activity. So the secondary activities are there just to help the primary activity. So when we apply this understanding, then everything becomes auspicious like that.
Very good, Prabhuji. Thank you so much
Prabhu,
for that.
Prabhu, we'll take one more question. One Mataji was about to ask question before Sumangal Prabhu. Mataji, if you're there, we can ask your question.
Mataji.
What
Hare Krishna,
Mataji was?
Mataji? Yeah, I think it has been the Madhavi Mataji. I saw her.
Okay.
Okay,
Prabhu. Then I think Sumangal Prabhu, I think we should close the session. And big thanks, Prabhu. Patita Pavana Prabhu, very, very big thanks. And we would definitely be inviting you for future sessions. And thanks a lot for being with us. And thanks a lot. It's very auspicious for us to see anyone who is coming and who's staying in Mayapur Dham. And please be safe and please pray for us also. We also pray for you so that every one of us will become more and more fearless as we surrender more and more to Krishna and be getting ready to accept what he gives. And thanks a lot for this wonderful session, which was very calm, quiet, and cool. It's like a Ganges flowing in a very serene manner. I felt like that I was sitting on a bank of a river with a very nice river flowing in front of me. Big thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the opportunity and also appreciating a little bit about the class. Ganga is flowing right by me actually, and when you mention it, it